Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi guys, welcome to episode 182 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So are you having a good week? Are you having face-to-face connections with actually real live people again? I hope so. That's where the real connection is, isn't it? So a friend of mine, well, I feel like he's a friend. I interviewed him early on in my podcast. His name is Ed Lattimore. He's on social media, Twitter, Instagram. You should follow him. He gives great advice. Anyway, this week he posted this tweet and I loved it. And it said, "Arguing with people on the internet is the equivalent of being out for a walk, seeing a pile of dog shit, and choosing to step in it." Now, I loved it because, you know what? That's so true. You're choosing to specifically bring negativity into your life if you do that. So that dog poop can be negative comments, negative news, social media that makes you feel bad, anything you're allowing into your mind that makes you feel bad, really. And guess what? That poop is going to stay in your shoe, and then you're dealing with it the rest of the day. And so is anyone you come close to. I mean, you're going to track it wherever you go. That's how negative interactions are. They stick with you, and you spread them. I mean, we're hardwired for negative bias because it was useful to our ancestors, but it simply isn't helpful in our current situation, our current social media, 24-hour news life that we're living. I mean, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but it actually takes effort and awareness and energy to focus on the positive, which you'd think it would be the opposite, but it just isn't. So my sister-in-law and I were talking at dinner the other night, and we were remembering some times that someone was mean to us when we were young. I mean, you don't ever forget that, and that's a long time ago. So we both had an event that we remembered really well that was a negative interaction for us. And my sister-in-law said, you know, people being mean to me didn't happen a lot. But when they were, I mean, I just don't seem to ever forget it. Now, I feel that same way, and odds are you do as well, which is interesting because there are way more times that someone was nice, but those don't stay with us like the negative interactions. So we're naturally drawn to negative events, and we give them more weight. This is inherent. I mean, it's built into our brain. But do we have to just accept that and live with it? Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Studies have shown that it's very hard to overcome negative bias. But there are a lot of hard things in life, and we find a way to do those. So doing the hard thing is usually better for us in the long run. I mean, eating healthy, working out, setting boundaries, and, avoiding our desire to focus on negative stuff. But look, there's a lot out there right now to make us question our sanity, to make us think the world is an awful place, to make us think that humanity has been lost. Meaning, if you really sit and focus on the bad stuff, it feels really awful. I mean, the times when I'm not looking at social media or Twitter or anywhere that I get the news, those are the times that I'm the most creative, the happiest, the most at peace. We owe it to ourselves to give our brains a chance to create, to think new thoughts, to come up with new ideas. And that just doesn't happen when it's being filled 24/7 with someone else's agenda-driven bad news that we seem to want to lap up like a thirsty dog. I mean, we're so influenced and focused on our screens anymore. And so much of that is because the world literally stopped and had everyone at attention and locked down during COVID. You know, we all know that. I mean, our connection to the outside world was our phones, our computer, the news, social media. So maybe we give ourselves a little grace and say, okay, for a minute, it was useful to be consistently paying attention. But now we really have to look, is it still useful? I don't think so. You know what is useful though? Getting back in touch with our intuition, our inner guidance system, so that when someone does hit us with news that doesn't feel right, we can say, I don't believe that. And we can say, this is what I know to be true in my community, and that's how we will live. I mean, we're individually strong, but when we stand together as a group, we are unstoppable. Find a group of people that are being a force for good and be part of that. There's so much out there that's good right now. Look for that and you'll find it. And I know some of you will think that this is cheesy, but keeping a daily journal of things you're grateful for has been proven to make us happier and less negative because you're actively thinking about things that are good in your life. Your brain may be hardwired for negative bias, but your brain also doesn't want you to work out. You override that because that's what's good for your mental and physical health. Well, so is overriding negative bias. You control your brain unless you're living on autopilot. So the next time your brain wants you to go step in that pile of dog poop, tell it no. You have better things to do. Things that create a life filled with feeling alive, inspired, and joyous. Things that lead to your wildly successful lifestyle. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.